Welcome back. This is session 2 on enrollments, profiles, and anything else we decide to add in the next 3 minutes. So, Heidi had asked a great question about relationships. So, correct me if I'm mistaken, you had registered for
family membership.
And now you want to know why you can't access other families within your kind of view, right?
Yeah, so on the app, when you log in, it's just my husband's name, so I'm just wondering how do we get an app set up then for each individual member of the family so they have their own?
That's a perfect question. So for those of you who didn't hear, Heidi's question was, we bought a family membership, now we want everyone to utilize the membership, but my husband's app just has his information on it, right? And that's absolutely correct. So we had talked about a limitation of this program is that it's very individualized because it was originally designed as a boutique one-off app for the yoga studios, for the cycling studios, so everyone who's coming in as one person. But then as the company grew, they maintained that functionality and now they created something called relationships. So when we come here to Heidi's account, you essentially just type in the search bar the name of the patron. Hey, I'm wondering why my son or daughter scan card isn't working because they're part of our family pass. We'll use that as the first example, Heidi. So now we're in Heidi's profile. This gives us everything we could possibly want to know about her and probably then some. So Heidi, look under email login. What's it say? Not assigned. So what's our first exclamation point? Maybe I know why no one can see her information. It's because no one's ever accessed it from her side. So we can access information that the patron hasn't necessarily set up on their side. In other words, I can set up an account for any one of you, and then you're going to have to log on at some point from your home computer, at which point you can change the information on that. You can purchase things at the recreation center. We can also do that from our side. So, first thing we look at, email login. Oh, look, Heidi Udall at Gmail. Don't share that with anyone. But the reason it says not assigned is because she hasn't set up a password yet. Okay? So we're going to see this a lot because I imported a lot of patrons, roughly 16,000, from Springville Recreation's database into our system. In my mind, we were taking a shortcut, right? Oh, it's less information I have to import later. But all it really did was it imported emails and then didn't set up an account. So we're going to have to be, unfortunately, putting out a fair amount of fires in the form of, why can't I log in? It says I have an account, but I've never set up an account with you guys.
That happened to me.
It did happen to you, didn't it, Carly? So what was the frustration?
I tried to access it, by the what's my password or
Yeah.
whatever. It said, we have your email, but your name that you're putting in isn't registering with us. So we have your email, but there's no other way for me to figure out how to access my account.
And what was the solution for you?
I turned it off and thought I'd ask later.
Did you ever find an answer?
No, because I stopped looking.
Okay.
Here is where I was going to come to look for it.
Oh, okay. This is a great place to find that answer. So one of the things that we can do, and I feel like this is going to be one of our top 5 duties, is resetting passwords for people. And when I say reset, it's really setting it up. Okay? So we're going to come into Heidi, I noticed you had an account. We imported content from Recreation, and in the process, the computer's kind of in this limbo. So we're going to give you a dummy password in the meantime. Okay? So Heidi, what's your dummy password? Don't say it. Come on. This is on video. You can like. My default dummy password, so you all know, is their first name with the capital 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation point. If we're consistent, one of my fears is someone's going to say, oh, they always do this with everyone's password, and then for whatever reason log into their account. I don't know what information you can gather from that, because although some accounts do store credit cards, it doesn't store the entire credit card. But I would suggest that whatever system you use, be consistent, so that when a patron comes back to you and says, hey, I was given this, you can at least with 100% accuracy say, I know I reset your password and it's XYZ123, whatever. But it does have to have a capital, it's got to have a lowercase number, and then a different symbol, yeah. So that's how I set it up. But essentially you come in here, Heidi, I'm going to type in what we had just talked about. So now we'll make sure we always click send a welcome email. Always click save. Now Heidi's set up. So she can now download the app, and when the app is on her phone, those are the same login for her online account as it is for the app, okay? Same credentials. And another thing I didn't know early on, I told some people, and I think I referenced this last week, I told some people, download the app, set up your account. You can have full functionality of purchases, memberships, reservations. What I didn't realize though is that the best way to do it is have your online account, sync the app with it, and then there's a seamless transition from one to the other. So if you download the app, set up an account, it doesn't link with the online account, okay? So we're going to have to reset on that side too, and walk people through some of that headache, courtesy of yours truly. So I apologize for that. But Heidi, the short answer is each one of your children now needs to have their own account if they have a smartphone. If they don't have a smartphone, we're okay just setting up a scan tag under edit name. We come here to assign. Our scanner's right next to our little point system on the scanner, and now that number populates here. We click save, hand them the key tag, and that's what they can use to scan it. Okay, same thing. Yes, question?
So they gave us key tags at the old pool?
Yes.
Can we leave those same?
We could if you want to keep that. Do you want to keep that?
Well, they gave them to us after we bought our pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a, hey, I know for sure this person has a membership.
Yeah.
Yes, so on there's a number. We could scan that number if you want to keep that. That's probably a collector's item. We have an interim one that's got maroon with the Springville old logo. And now I just barely ordered new ones with the new logo on them, which we'll probably use as the primary key tag. Yeah, but we can pair essentially anything that's got a number on it,
Okay.
that's official for us, we can pair, okay? But I'd like to push the app as much as possible. So coming back to relationships. So now Heidi's husband purchased the membership, right? What he did was bought it, took I can't think of the word, but he essentially applied the discount from Cyber Monday, right? Took advantage of the discount and was off and running. Mrs. Udall, Mrs. Wife, I took care of it. I'm the best husband ever, right? But what he didn't do was finish setting up the remaining profile, okay? So what he now needs to do is go back in his profile and it'll say set up family members. And from there you click on it and you can add the children. And her children are probably already in there.
Yeah, they are.
And essentially once they're paired with him, they're paired with Heidi. And we don't have to do anything else. So from our perspective, we want as many patrons doing the set up family members as possible. When we come into this part, are you okay if we use it as an example? So now we come to relationships. She's already set up with her husband, right? This is getting into the weeds. But I think it's important to see how detailed this program can get. We can assign. Now we can look up your first child's name.
Allie.
A-L-L-Y.
I.
Hi.
Mhm. she'll have to be here on this.
So here we go.
24, so she'll have to be here.
Allie Udall, company of Heidi Udall. So what we want to do when we're pairing these, let's say, hey, I can't take care of this. I got really poor internet at home. Their story's compelling us to do it for them, right? The reason we don't want to do that, I'll show you in a second. But essentially, Heidi Udall pays for Allie. Allie is the parent guardian of Heidi. Allie is the child of for Heidi. That's the one we want, right? Allie's the child? Okay. So now we come in here, click Add Relationship. You have all of those options. The downside of this program, we have to do it one at a time. It'd be nice if you could control tab through each one of them and just select all of them at the same time. Or even if there was a check mark system. But we now have to do it again. And this is what happens automatically when Cord sets up the account, is when he sets up a family member, he pays for everybody. Now, we're going to set up Allie the... actually, okay, so we'll just do this. On Cord's account, it'll essentially say Heidi Udall pays for Allie Udall, but under his account it'll say Cord pays for Allie.
Right, that's what it said. Yeah, it listed all my kids and then said Cord pays for all.
Oh, nice. So you're in good shape.
It had their birthdays.
Perfect. That's great. So now, if you were ever to want to purchase for them, you would essentially have to set this up. So if your youngest has a swim lesson and you want to be able to purchase for them under your name, you would have to set them up as a child and say it pays for theirs. And when you add them to your account, it's a family member, it does both of them simultaneously, which is pretty nice from that side. Any questions there? But Cord can do that. He can register more than one child because he's paying for all of those children. You can until you set up that functionality. And we can do that. The problem then, because Cord is paying for Allie, Allie cannot pay for Cord. One of them has to default. So if Heidi wants to pay for next year's membership, we're going to have to go in there and switch some things around. All right? Okay. So now we are in the profile. Let's review a couple other elements. We want to make sure that we've got address in there that's accurate, a phone number that's accurate. This obviously edit name is where we can correct the spelling of their name. If it's all lowercase, let's change it so that it looks proper on all of the documentations we may send out. So this is the next section. Photo. There's no picture, Heidi. One of the cool things about this, we are 100% cloud-based. What's that mean?
Wireless.
Wireless, and do we have any servers on site? Nope. All of that's taken care of somewhere elsewhere. So all of the memory attached to all of these documents, I don't have to worry about. The only thing I have to worry about is keeping internet connectivity. So we are going to give all of the shift leads the MindBody business app, at which point they have the ability on their phone to look up Heidi Udall. It's pretty nice. This is another huge selling point. What? I could do things from my phone? I don't even have to be there? So on mine, I typed in the business app, Heidi's name, and on there it came up with a little icon that said no waiver. So now I automatically know, and it didn't populate here, did it? I didn't see anywhere where it said no waiver sign. Whereas here on the app, it's clear as day. No picture, no waiver. So now, Heidi, we're going to take a picture.
Good times.
Okay? You ready? This is the benefit
Well,
of being...
really close.
But you wait, it's not that close. So there are people behind you in the picture too. See, it's not that close. Whoa, I did that to someone over here. I was like,
I felt like you're getting my teeth. Yeah.
you people. Okay, so now we got Heidi's picture. It's not saved anywhere except on her account. And a couple other people. Here's another benefit. We're going to close that. We're going to sign her waiver. We need to have a waiver for everyone while we're on this topic. It says liability waiver. You scroll up and down it, right? You can give them a brief synopsis. You can require them to read it. I think while you say review this waiver, that's what we should be asking them to do. You can give them a brief synopsis, at which point they can decide whether they want to read it in detail, okay? But then she agreed to it, and now we're going to have her sign. Just has a signature line. Have her sign. Can you guys see that? Signature line. Next. Wait for it to load. Now it says liability waiver complete on here. We come back to refresh the online account, and voila! So Heidi is in our system. Her waiver is signed, and
I was like,
we're in great shape.